let us have a little peruse of the new Doctor Who magazine, right? Which just gets weirder and weirder and weirder, right? I think that's the only way to describe it. It gets weirder and weirder and weirder. In fact, here, I think it's on Facebook. Let me see if I can find it. We got over here. One second. Facebook video downloader. So this is a 600 issue, and it's just a weird cover that they're very, very proud of, right? They are very proud of it. There we go, Doctor Who magazine. They didn't put this on Twitter. They only put this on what's it called again? Facebook. And I'm sorry, I just find the new editor weird and creepy. Like, I'm not saying he's a paedophile, but he turned out to be, I'll be like, oh, that makes sense. And again, I'm not saying he's a paedophile. I'm really not. I'm really, really genuinely not. But there's just a creepy vibe I get off him. Don't know what to tell you. So this video came out with it. No problem, Mings here. How you doing? Everyone here, tardy box again. They did get tired after the first box set.
Hello? Yes? No, you're absolutely right. Yes, we are on the TARDIS, and yes, you will soon be seeing everything.
So they're very excited about this cover that they did, which I don't tell you, it's not that impressive to me. I mean, it looks like there was a shit ton of work involved in making it, and they should have had a few interns to do it. That console's just ridiculously too big. It really is just ridiculously too big. They're reading issues of it when it was good. Yeah, this cover just looks very labor intensive to me. And they're very proud. I mean, like, this video goes on for a while.
Every single issue of DWM ever.
Every single issue.
Every 600 issues. Happy 600!
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Like, I think it's kind of normal to be creeped out by this. No, they basically they took a ton of time to do this. Look how big that console is. It's ridiculous.
To issue 700, shall we? Right, we're off.
Best of luck with that, mate. Okay, so they're very excited about issue 600, right? Very excited. Okay. So, where's the page turning thing? Oh, there we go. Doink. Is this... Wait, the Worlds of Doctor Who. This was like a 6 or 7 disc thing, wasn't it? What? Was it Big Finish? We got to use the code EPIC. Do you get the whole thing? Worlds of Doctor Who. This really? I mean, I already have this, but like, man, if they're giving it away, I mean, it wasn't great. Is this the whole thing? Looks like it is. Right? Looks like it is. Blimey, that's impressive. It was like... Here, 1 second. The Worlds of Doctor Who. Is it just... Do they get the whole thing, or is it just... I don't know. How many discs is this? It is... 222 minutes. It's like, 6, 12, 18. Yeah, it's about 4 discs. Okay, that's really cool. I would go and gobble that up if I was you, right? I remember it being quite good, as I recall. Not stellar, and there's a reason they stopped doing them. But I remember being okay. Man, they are so freaking up their own asses about this sodding cover, right? Yeah, I understand. It probably took you a day's worth of work, right? I get it. Should have hired a few bloody interns. Like, it's just bizarre. Like, don't be up your own arse so much, right? Oh, for God's sake. The second season of the shooting cut were as the Doctor will be back in production. It's already back, and Millie Gibson being fired. Maybe they should have somehow covered that. I don't know. But the Leela and the Time War, that was good. Probably the best thing Pete Mateek has ever done, right? Probably the best thing he's ever done. Now, I am just one lone mind. I admittedly, I have a remarkable mind, right? A mind that defies any form of description whatsoever. But still, I always feel that, like, what's that? What's that show? Starfalls, where it was like the puppet show that wasn't Jerry Anderson. It was the other one, the Japanese one, where they had these little robots that joined up to make a giant robot. No, little spaceships that joined up to make a giant robot. That's what it was. It was little spaceships joined up to make a giant robot. I always thought that was a bit duff, really, quite frankly. Because, like, if you had spaceships, you had a group of spaceships. Now you got one robot that's on the ground. I don't really had a sword, whatever. I got to understand. But the idea behind it is a good one, right? The idea behind it is one we should look up to and admire. It's when the Doctor meets his own self. Well, not so much anymore. There's too many of them. But they do commune telepathically. Contact, like that, right? Like that, and then by they merged, and I'm not talking in a sexual manner, obviously, but maybe I am. When they merge their energy, ladies and gentlemen, they come up with a gestalt entity. I'm about to gestalt all over the place, honey. I am indeed, because who am I going to gestalt with? Only the finest, only actual royalty, Birmingham's King of the Geeks, Dan Hanley. How you doing, sir?
Ready to be gestalted in the nicest possible way. Hello, mate. Cried,
jigger. Well,
not too bad at all.
I just missed this. People agree with me, the console's too big. We're
still on that one.
Sorry?
We're still on that one after 3 months.
Oh, God, yes! Okay, have you looked at Doctor Who magazine yet?
I haven't. Again, as is always the case, what do I always say? I have it on the shelf behind me. I picked it up
on the shelf behind you. They are banging on about their cover in a way that... They're like, again, I get it. And I don't know what it is about this new editor. He creeps me the fuck out.
He's a strange customer, isn't he?
What?
He's a strange customer, Jason.
He could just be a weird dude, right? But I don't know.
He's been around. Jason Quinn's been around for a really long time in publishing and things like that. I've got some mutual friends from the day job, and he's quite eccentric. So I was a little surprised. Yes. I was a little surprised to see him turn up as the editor of Doctor Who magazine. He seems to be being creative with it in some respects.
But you know what? He seems to be the first editor for a long time that isn't a fan of the show, right? It seems from the late 80s onwards, everybody working on it was a fan of the show. He seems like one of the not we. He seems like somebody who'll watch it and be like, I don't mind Doctor Who. But not a fan. Clayton Hickman was a fan of the show. Yeah,
I don't know. Like I say, I don't know him. I just know of him, and I know he's seen as a sort of a steady pair of hands. Really, he's been in publishing for a really long time.
I'm sure he is. Okay, I'm sure he is.
Yeah,
but like
Russ knows him. Russ Leach, Russ, he knows him really well. They've worked together on. So if you asked him, he'd probably be able to tell you. But it wouldn't surprise me if he wasn't a Doctor Who fan. I mean, obviously, Tim Quinn, his brother, is a big fan. He used to do the Doctor Who comic strip.
That's his brother. He's Tim Quinn's brother.
Yeah.
Tim Quinn and Dickie Howard. Oh man, I used to love those.
Yeah,
they were great. What, are they still alive?
Yes. because because at the time, you see, obviously, because I move in those circles. Well, you do as well. Come to think of it, you may or may not know that at the same time that Tim Quinn and Diggy Howard were doing that strip in Doctor Who magazine, they were also contributing 3-4 page panel strips to titles like Fiesta and Knave.
I did know that. I did know that. That's what he seems like he should be the editor of Fiesta or Knave. That's what it is. He does. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what Fiesta or Knave is, that's if you were if that's if it's slightly too low class to get parade. Okay. These are wank from England.
Parade. Did you ever see the one Cheap Thrills that was only £1?
No, I never saw Cheap Thrills.
Pound coin. Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't exclusive to Birmingham. No, it was a national publication.
Gallifreyan Guardian this month is a little bit lackluster in that it's missing. I mean, it's got the Leela. This is old news now. The Leela and the Time War, which was very good. We all
don't say that because I'm doing it on the show later on. It's news. It's still got lots of life to it. We'll be talking about it on Type 40 Live later on.
it's like what, 3 weeks old?
It's about 3 weeks old. Yeah.
And it was probably one of the better things that we've seen. But there's no mention of Millie Gibson leaving. That was so not planned to be. That was so not planned. I think
that's a new picture of Shooty. I don't think I've seen before, but he does look like he's just been caught. Yes.
He looked like he just wiped his mouth. I got from the showrunner. We'll find out what wokenesses Russell's getting up to next.
Yes.
Why would you get rid of Millie Gibson? I mean, like, honestly, the thing that works best about your production, like, by a long way.
I suppose we have only seen an hour of it. She may end up being not very good, but I'm certain.
No, she was good in the hour we saw it. It wasn't.
I thought she was good as well, and I mean, we don't. I don't suppose we don't know anything categorically, do we? But I think the fact that we'd heard rumours that she wasn't functioning well on night shoots, that it could be as simple as that. Maybe we'll find out again. Like we've been saying about Eccleston for 18 years. Maybe we'll find out one day.
Maybe we'll get a book like the Life and Scandalous Times of John Nathan Turner. I love that book.
Yeah.
Are people going to be saying that they love the TARDIS rap, which I just found cringe and embarrassing?
Went down well with Tharis. He's very pleased about that.
Well, yeah.
It was his idea, so they picked it up from one of Tharis's videos.
Well,
it's very present.
It must be a good idea.
Yeah.
So on the YouTube, we have Shooty Gut was showing off his Sonic. Who is Mrs. Flood? By the way, Mrs. Flood, right? People were saying it's Millie Gibson, right? No. I'm sure you remember at the beginning of the episode, she saw the TARDIS. She's like, "What's that doing there?" I've never seen anything like that in my life, right? And at the end of the episode, she tells Millie to get in the TARDIS, right? You want to get in, and looks in the camera and says, "What's the problem? You've never seen the TARDIS before." So something happened in between the opening and the close of that episode.
Something happened for her, yes, that we haven't seen yet.
Right. I think a lot this season is going to be told somehow. I think he's trying to do the same sort of thing that Moffat did with not the Weeping Angels. What was it? Where Matt Smith's first season, when he ended up walking backwards through his own timeline. That was really good as well.
Oh, I can't remember.
It was
when
he went into the crack.
Oh, we've all done that.
Yes, but he went into Amy's crack. He had a big smile.
I can't quite remember.
Neil Patrick Harris thing. I don't know who I'm talking to. Are you watching? Are you watching a thing called what was it? Criminal Record? It's on Apple.
No, I mean it does look decent. I suppose. I saw the first
episode. I was like, meh.
It's the kind of police thriller that I usually wouldn't give a passing thought to if Peter Capaldi wasn't in it. Let's put it that way.
Exactly. The There's also, they just started a new show called Master of the Air, which is kind of like Band of Brothers for the Air Force in World War II. And apparently shooters in that from like the middle of the season onwards. I've seen the first 2 episodes. That was very impressive. This I want to see. A loving tribute to all those who connected the world of Doctor Who that we lost in 2023. Oh, I thought it was a lovely tribute to Sid Sutton, which I would have really loved to have seen.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the things that Toby Haydock puts together, aren't they? The reels of everybody that's passed away.
Okay, so this was going to be my headline story. Oh, Tim Quinn and Dickie Howard. I guess that's why it's here.
They're back.
Oh, look at that.
They're back for issue 600.
So the ratings, right? They
Yeah.
put the live ratings in.
Okay.
They're awful. Look at them.
Let's have a look.
2.41 on Christmas Day. Look, I'm sorry. The 7-day ratings came out 10 days later. They seem really suspect. They include anybody who watched it for a minute or more, I think. I just don't think they're legit. I think this 2.92 seems much more legit to me.
Well, these live ratings that we get now, I forget. We had this before, didn't we? Because this is another thing. These live ratings are something that only came to light about 3 years ago. And
it was with the Legend of the Sea Devils.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Now you mentioned it. So because we didn't realize, did we? We assumed that the overnight rating, the overnight ratings aren't in here, are they? They've been rolled into the 7-day rating, which does make a certain amount of sense. But seeing it next to this new figure, this live rating, which is obviously lower across the board, I mean, I'm tempted to kind of discount the thing is, all of these figures, it's all well and good, but I think we've also not got to forget that this is to be judged against the entire TV landscape of the time. Not people watching 15 years ago, what they're watching 20 years ago, and certainly not what they were watching in the 70s or the 80s is irrelevant. When you put that extra column of data there, it can't help but those are shockingly low figures. But then again, are they comparative to other things? I haven't seen these figures before, so that I feel like I can comment.
Say the right comparison to make will be Mr. Bates versus the Post Office, which wasn't woke. Right?
I don't know.
It was a compelling story, and it got 12-13 million overnight.
I think it will depend on. I haven't looked into this quite a lot in the last couple of months. I'm not saying that you or other people haven't, but I've noticed that how and why Bob classify the things as they do. Something like, I don't know about this Post Office drama, but I would be interested in to see which night of the week it's actually on, which time slot it's in, and which category it falls into. Some people have been dunking on Doctor Who. With the Gladiator ratings and ratings for The Traitor, which are technically classed, they're game shows. They
always got higher ratings.
Yeah, light entertainment traditionally does. You know, with the Mr. Bates drama. So I know so little about it. It's not fair for me to say. I gather that it's done very, very well for ITVX, which has been ITV's struggling streaming service, which is very nice to look at. But it buffers, or at least whenever I try and watch anything on it, it buffers really badly. But looking at these figures, if I look at these 7-day ratings figures, I maintain that those figures are perfectly fine. I don't think
I agree with you.
We've got a drop off of 400,000 viewers in between the episodes over 4. That's pretty insignificant, all things considered. Would I like them to be higher? Of course I would. Which Doctor Who fan wouldn't? But it is what it is. They're no cause for alarm. They could look better, but they could look a lot worse. That's my gut instinct.
The full overnight is 5.08. So they're saying that 2.16 million people watched it on iPlayer. That sounds reasonable to me, actually.
See, I had no idea that. I mean, to think that, and this is opening it all up a little bit. We've got nearly 70 million people in Britain officially. There's probably closer to 80. But we've got 70 million people in Britain, and how many people? Probably about 30 to 40 million people, households, pay a license fee. And yet only 2.5 million of those people are watching. I'm not just talking about Doctor Who, but the average drama.
Putting it in the context of of what they're. But the trouble is this: why does the BBC not want to switch to being a streaming model? Because then they've got to cut out their woke shit that nobody's interested in watching.
Yeah, they've got to be commercial. They've got to actually program to the things that people actually want to see.
Yeah, and they would rather die. Right, they would rather die.
They would.
Oh God, they're so into this cover. I get it. They spent all day scattering Doctor Who magazines all over this piece of shit new TARDIS console. The more you show it to me, the more I hate it. Okay, leave me alone with it.
How many pages of this have they put into an article on their own cover?
Oh wait. More than that. Wait, you wait and see. Right, you wait and see.
Yeah.
Church and Ruby Road. Oh man, this Esme Jikimi Pearson is bad news, right? She's everything she appears to be. So what's this? Talk. We're to celebrate 6 months of history. Doctor Who magazine writers Jeremy Bentham, Richard Marsden, and Patrick Malcolm recall their most. Oh, that actually sounds quite interesting. I would be interested in reading all of this.
Look at the bloke on the top right with the tash and the Lego man hair. Fantastic. Who's that?
Somebody made the Silurian mask. What's his name? It says it. Dr. John Freelander. That's who it is.
He's brilliant. I like him.
I'll tell you, with the kerchief and everything.
He looks like Pam Ayres before she had a shave. Brilliant.
Okay, this looks like, again, for somebody like me, this is really a good magazine content, right?
This is nice.
Pages. That's weird.
I love that picture of Mary Tam in the Newcastle Brown Ale apron as well.
Bit of Nuki Brown.
Yeah, she was. Did you ever meet Mary Tam?
No.
She was drop dead gorgeous. Like literally.
I saw her at a convention, but yeah. And was it Rhoda? Not Rhoda Munro. Yeah, the woman who's going to the James Bond slinky actress, the femme fatale, who's
Caroline Munro.
Caroline Munro, that's the one who's going to be in the Johnny Byrne Doctor Who movie that was going to be directed by Leonard Nimoy, I think, if I recall rightly.
Yeah, he was in the chair for about 6 months, wasn't he? Along with everybody else.
Again, this is just really awkward because we know that she's gone.
Yeah, isn't she? She's ever so beautiful. I mean,
she really is. She really
makes you wonder what she could have done.
Speaking of which, there's an article about her in the Sun. So now she's just like relaxing in the sun. In the sun.
Yeah.
By the way, have you been watching the TED TV show?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
It's not bad. So they have a thing in today that says, you know, the song "The Monster Mash."
Yes.
So the song "The Monster Mash" is a song which is about a dance called the Monster Mash, which was based on a song called the Monster Mash, which is not the song The Monster Mash. That's quite amazing.
I certainly remember the song. They used to play it at my school. I don't know why.
Then we got the so this is a triple out the TARDIS thing. So these things are just fillers, right? So this goes on for 2, 4, 6 pages, right?
Well, this used to be a lovely sort of fluffy bit of nonsense.
Yeah, this used to be a 1-page little fun thing, and now it's like major content filling. So what's this? UNIT was once a top secret organization hidden from public view. Well, it had a big sign saying UNIT top secret, keep out. Right? It was never like so stealthy. Now its latest HQ is proud towering above London and will play a key role in the forthcoming Doctor Who. Simon Gurrier gets the intelligence on the striking new landmark from production designer Paul Sims. Okay, again, this is just more stuff I don't really like about the new era. It's scale over content. This is something that's wrong, I think, with entertainment in general. They go for scale over content all the time. I was talking to Alex Lees the other day about things that I've seen a few things I really enjoyed this week. Firstly, Godzilla -1. Have you seen it?
No. And like I say, until I get an English dub, I'm not going anywhere near it.
Oh no, you should watch it with the subtitles. It's better with subtitles. Because I'm not really a big subtitles person, right? I don't want there's a couple of movies I've watched without subtitles, which I like. But it was so good that the character drama pulled me right through it, really intensely. And it was all done, and it was all that said subtitles.
If it comes out on home media and there is no dub, but then I'll consider watching the subtitles. But for the time being, I just don't do subtitles. I can't.
I think it's coming out next month. It is it's the sort of movie that should win Best Picture Oscar when the Oscars meant anything. It's really that kind of like epic, broad, and like personal scale at the same time. Okay, so this is the new unit base.
You see why the problem I've got with the unit base, I haven't the issues with the TARDIS console room that you have, particularly if it does end up being just a starting point. But I do have an issue with this. And to be honest, I had a bit of an issue with the way that it was depicted during the Russell T Davies era with the helicarrier and things. It's all. I think that there's no warmth to it. I like the idea that, the original unit HQ, it was hardly Porton down, was it? Pretty much, you got the impression that anybody, despite that sign saying unit top secret keep out, the milkman still probably knocked the door and dropped a couple of gold top
Sarah
down.
Jane, who's a journalist, wandered in.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So whilst I don't necessarily want it to be that woolly, I think if you're going to offer, for example, the idea that unit has now evolved to the point where it's got this gleaming monolithic style skyscraper headquarters with a helipad, then you should offer. So inside it should be decked out like an old gentleman's club, or like the offices were at Grace Brothers in Are You Being Served?
Oh, now you're talking.
There should be some sort of contrast and some sort of warmth, and most importantly, something distinctly British about it.
Yeah, it lacks character.
Lacks character. Yeah, you're right.
It lacks character,
and even more so, mate. Even more so because it lacks character. It doesn't feel like it belongs in Doctor Who.
Right. And Doctor's all about character. Aficionados international. What's this? We often think of Doctor as being very British as usual, but these days, love is spreading across the globe. Dylan Torres turns the Hoovians of Spain. Couldn't care less.
See, to be fair, I love stuff like this, how Doctor Who may travel abroad, how people receive it, what they latch onto about it, and what they celebrate about the show. So I do love this sort of stuff. But I'm also quite cautious of the way it's framed. The idea of, it was once thought of as it's British. No, it is British. This is a British institution. Exactly. And it's lovely. It's lovely that it can be shared globally. I think that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But but don't start dismantling the fact that this is a British institution and it should remain so. And there's nothing wrong with that. These Spaniards, they clearly never had a problem with it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have latched onto it in the first place.
Exactly. So this is the Goblin song was one of the surprise highlights of 2023. I like the Goblin song. Okay, I was going to think,
brilliant.
The surprise highlight, I enjoyed it. Right,
it was brilliant.
Sorry.
I thought the song was absolutely brilliant. Loved it.
I thought it was like, so there's a rumor that the entire season is musical, right? They're going to have musical numbers in every episode. I can totally believe that.
Bollocks. I'm calling bollocks.
Look, based on what I saw on the Christmas special, I wouldn't really mind it.
Yeah, I just don't think it's something they could do practically. I think it would alienate. It'd turn the series into something else. I'd be interested to see who's put that story into circulation. It's got a hint of outrage farming about it. It's as if to say, they're going to claim that Shooty Gat was going to spend the entire 8 episodes running around in his grunts as well. It's like, remember that thing you hated? Remember that thing you hated about the first one? Well, they're going to do it every week come May. Oh God! And it makes it's. I hate to sound like a stuck record. Jumping at shadows, outrage farming. Don't fall for it, everybody. There's no point in dreading the next 4 or 5 months. It'll be what it'll be.
Look, I'm not optimistic, but I'm intrigued. I'm certainly going to watch it.
My hopes are lower than they were in October. I won't deny that.
Well, I think we all feel the same way.
But I'm not going to fall into the trap of thinking the sky's falling either.
Well, let's say it's shit. Does that mean the sky's fallen? Look, the thing about Doctor Who is I firmly believe it will. It can come back. Right. I've said that so often. Right. I really think that James Bond, the Broccolis, are just trying to like stall and wait out this era.
Oh yes. Yeah, they are determined because they will not compromise their IP.
Right.
They simply will not because they know that there's a company. This isn't the Marvel Studios. They don't put out 3 or 4 films a year. They put out one film every 3 or 4 years. They're happy to just ride it out. They're not short of a few bob.
Although again,
it's not a problem.
Look,
You're still there, mate? Can anybody else hear the Rabbi? Because I can't.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Yeah, I am. So yeah, this is a really boring doing page feature about what people do in the production of Doctor Who, but it's like
yeah. You see where and this young man, I'm very happy for him that he does this. You know, my son works in film and television. It's a wonderful thing. But does a feature like this need to be across two? Does a feature like I can hear you now. But does my question would be, I think this is I think those features are lovely. But do they need to be across 2 pages? And does one of those pages need to be taken up with a nearly full-length picture of some bugger that he seems like, I'm sure he's a nice lad, but some bugger, we have no idea who he is. And to be quite honest, by the time we've closed the magazine, we won't care. We'll have forgotten about him by the time we get to...
yeah, I mean, it just looks like just make the magazine less pages. At this point, just if you can't fill it, and the thing is, it's criminal that they can't bloody fill it, right? And why are these things right in the middle of the bloody magazine now? This one's in 65 and this should be at the beginning.
In my view,
what?
In my view, this magazine, and this is no slight on this new editor, maybe he's about to do something revolutionary and wonderful, I don't know. But this magazine needs looking at from top to toe. Everything about it needs changing to make it. But, I mean, the price is ridiculous. Yeah. Everything. They can't justify anything. It's gotten bloated as a line of merchandise under Panini, in my opinion.
Well, it's under Panini, so they had been with Panini for like 20 years.
Yeah. They publish bookazines, they publish specials, and yet the actual magazine, they're happy to spend 2 pages talking about some young lad.
About nothing. But here's the thing: the gulf between older fans and newer fans is massive. In that newer fans are vacuous morons who live on TikTok, who aren't by the magazine, and so they're trying to appeal to them at the same time as having this stuff in that will appeal to people more our age.
Apparently, the young woman that they have chosen to adapt the Church on Ruby Road into a book. Apparently, she's very big on TikTok, Rabbi.
Yes, exactly, and also she's like very, very, very pro Hamas and anti-white people. So. Yes, enough already. Did you ever listen to the Nest Cottage, these audios? These were quite weird.
I enjoyed these. They were very much their own thing, but they did feel like Doctor Who. I did enjoy them for what they were, but it's been a long time since I've heard them.
It felt like Doctor Who in the same way Death Comes to Time felt like Doctor Who. It was just a different person's take on Doctor Who. This was very much Paul Maggs. And look, the Tom Baker... this Doctor was much closer to Tom Baker. Like he lived in a cottage rather than travel the universe. You're right. It was much closer to. Who's doing the artwork on this? Why is Lee Sullivan still doing the? It just.
It seems to be because Russell T Davies associates him as being the Doctor Who comic strip artist.
No, they need to develop the next generation of talent. Right, they need to do the next generation John Ridgway.
I think Russ Leach should be on this. I'm surprised that he isn't.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think his work was actually better. I absolutely do agree with you. Planet of the Daleks episodes. Like, why is this split over two issues? Actually, something I might be interested in. Who's in it? Alan Barnes. Planet of the Daleks. I like a bit. I do like the beginning bit where he's freezing over, and Joe Grant's leaving her diary. You remember Planet of the Daleks?
Yeah. I've never been very keen on this story, to tell you the truth. Maybe it's
better on the Blu-ray with the new special effects.
I've always felt it was very. I think there's a lot of fat on it. That's the.
Well, yeah. Look, this was Terry Nathan when he was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll just rewrite the Daleks."
yeah. It's never held my attention.
I think was it Barry Letts? I think they said it too. So what was it with Genesis of the Daleks or something like that? Said like, well, it's a great script, but it was a great script when you first did it for us in 1963 and 65. Like same thing again. Have you any interest in reading these books whatsoever? Oh, you have. You like the specials?
Yeah, but would I read the books of them though? I'd be. Who's written them? It's James Goss, Gary Russell, and who's written the other one? Mark Morris. On the strength of
James Mark Morris. You're right. Yeah.
I'd be tempted to buy them. I mean, firstly, I think they're a little overpriced. These should be banged out at $5.99. You should be able to buy them in every supermarket. They should be next to the Kit Kats. They should be sold again ideally for older children. I would probably. I like all three of these writers.
Me too.
I'm in no great rush to revisit these. No.
In any way, shape, or form. But like, also, why aren't they developing their own visual look?
I don't know.
This is like the bad Peter Angeles filter. I just like they should try and do something completely different, right? They make a unique, distinctive look.
Well, I think I've spoken before, and I don't think he'd mind us saying, because he said when we interviewed him. And he said to me privately as well, Chris Achilleus, he didn't find this flattering at all.
No, this is understand.
Yeah, he thought it was doing the artists a disservice. New upcoming artists were being forced to copy his style. And he found it a bit of a slight on him, because the way he looked at it was, if you want a book cover done in the style of Chris Achilleus, commission Chris Achilleus.
Exactly. I agree with him completely. And I'm somebody who's a big proponent of AI art, right? I like it a lot. But I do.
Chris believed in art moving forwards, in graphics moving forwards, and he knew that his work was emblematic of a time, and he was happy that tradition carried on, and that people succeeded him on those book covers, and that the line evolved. He didn't want to see them come back as things that were just trading on their past identity. This was the complete antithesis of that which Chris believed art should be.
What I feel. I mean, do you remember back in the 80s and 90s when we had a real fad of having these really nice painted covers for everything, for the VHS, for the Target books, and we were excited and they developed their own identity.
Right? Mate, I don't know about you. I didn't like all of them. There was loads. I thought, I'm not so keen on that. But they were full of character, and you got to see artists come through.
Book over here of all the new adventures covers. Right, and it's mainly about. It's great. It's one of my favorite books. I absolutely adore it.
Peter Elroy did a lot of those, didn't he? And they got back Jeff Cummins to do it, And even though Jeff, again, that's another artist I've interviewed, Jeff doesn't rate his work on those titles very highly at all. But I think his attitude was they allowed him to experiment, which is not something that he got anywhere else. And so therefore he looks back on the time as a period that really helped him change as an artist and adapt as an artist. So it's really a really important line of books.
I now if you wanted to do a Chris Achilleus thing, the thing that really worked is how he made the episode into a splash comic book page, right? Which these aren't. These are just an amalgam poster. These aren't telling a story. Chris Achilleus' stuff told a story, right? Do you remember that wonderful thing for Terror of the Zygons with the It looks so much better in his illustration. The Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
Right. But it had a narrative to it.
Well, because Chris wasn't just somebody who could capture a likeness of a person. By his own admission, some of his likenesses were better than others, but he tried to convey a mood and to sort of as if he was suddenly hitting pause on a moment of a story, and we were seeing it through this kaleidoscopic lens that was only his, and he was transmitting it to us. This is how excited it made me feel, and I can sort of re-evoke that to you.
To do.
Yeah,
right. It represented a moment in time, right? And again, these things just seem so bland. This is how I feel about most of this new era. Until Shooty Gutwa turned up, frankly. Shooty doesn't seem bland to me at all.
No,
right?
me neither.
Full of character.
I mean, he could be too far the other. He could be too far the other way. But in the same way that we've got
keep your shirt on, darling.
In the same way that we've got programming that is starting to look like just content, we also have books and art that it kind of just seems like stuff, like product. And it shouldn't be this way. It shouldn't be quite as soulless and as IP-minded as it is.
This is why I like fan-made stuff, and I'm very excited over the next few years to see what technology allows people to do. Because essentially they're using this technology to do these dross covers, relatively easily, right? And with the AI tools in Photoshop, everything is so much easier now. Like, it's crazy how much easier things are. But when you have somebody who actually loves what they're doing, right, and cares about that, I toot my own horn with this, but my Christmas audio story, right? There was just, there's so much more authenticity in that.
Well, you poured a lot of not just love into that, but a lot of knowledge. And a lot of your sort of and your instincts, your intuitions about those characters, and about storytelling as well. I mean, as much as we've got a double-page spread here on the screen, and I don't like criticizing other people's work. I find that illustration on the right a real eyesore. But
it's currently generic. But again, look, it was approved. He probably did it relatively quickly.
But the thing is, I would take, but mate, I would actually take that.
Yeah.
I would rather that person, in many respects, take over the covers to the book range than those, because at least they've got a style. They've got a style they're working on, they're developing, and it may not be to my taste, but it's very distinctive.
But
and Chris would have approved of that.
Own visual identity, has character. I agree with you. I do agree with you. Okay, fine. Then, man, it's really. Like Robot Project, and there's no way I'm listening to that in a million years.
It's slim pickings when they're talking about role-playing games.
Right, yeah. And then you got the role-playing game, which do look like they're printed very nicely, I have to tell you.
We're one step away from the toiletries, aren't we? The Jodie Whittaker toilet duck.
Somebody just sent me a copy of this, the final of the War Doctor Begins, because I didn't buy it. If I like it, I'll pay for it. Right, but this is this is the sixth one they've done. The first four I thought were pretty good, and then they tacked on two more, which are all about this this stunning and brave female character, mainly.
Right.
And so I bought
in the War Doctor. Okay.
Never mind. Defender, they keep putting out Jake Dubman stuff. I guess. But they're full cast. They just announced that before you came on, I went over all the new Big Finish announcements. Big Finish are not going under. It's like they've announced so much bloody stuff this week. It's great. And I know about a few more projects that are coming out as well. I'm going to say they're doing fine by the looks of it.
I did advise that that it was almost certainly bullshit, but I felt like a lone voice.
I think you've been proved right. Now, this thing, the last day, I got the first part of it. Not very good, sadly. Right? Not very good. It was. You have to have labyrinthine knowledge of the Seventh Doctor range on audio and on TV. TV's fine, right? But they're referencing characters that you last saw 10, 15 years ago, and and they're bringing new characters who you don't know who. It's one big epic story. The first half of an epic story, and it doesn't work. It doesn't gel together at all. So this is what I'm not getting the second part.
As you say, it's a tough balancing act when Big Finish go back on their own history, because there's only so much that people do cherry pick with these releases, and you can't really expect people to have that sort of exhaustive knowledge or recollection of audio dramas they may have heard twice 15, 18, 20 years ago. I think they should largely. It's one thing to use the companion again to bring back Hex and for us to give it and to give us a sort of snapshot of who he was, who we remember him to have been, but another to kind of to treat it as if we re-listen to these audio dramas all the time and can remember every twist and turn of his story.
What they should have done, and this is what they should have done with the main range, is make the last year like a tour of all the high spots of the main range, but. If you're going to go back to old prop, which I don't mind them doing, I think it's fine them doing that. They've developed a lore, which is okay, which is good. But you've got to make it so it's understandable and intelligible to the new listener. And I've actually not only listened to all these things before, but actually bought and paid for them all. Right? I put my money I took my money out of my pocket and gave it to them, and I still don't have a clue. I was like, "Who's this? What's going on?"
I've got boxes and boxes of their CDs upstairs.
No shortage of an ashtray at your place. Fine prize giveaway. Again, man, will you stop with this Jake Dubman stuff all the time? I'm just really not into it, because you know why? It's always Jake Dubman with somebody who would never be somebody who's not white, who would never be cast as a companion, because they basically run out of not white female actors, right? The woman they had playing. What's her name? Cross. They had Sullivan and Cross. They had so whenever you see her, the pictures that they do on like behind the scenes, she's massive. She towers over everyone. She's like a brick shithouse. Now, God bless her.
She looks like one of the gladiators, doesn't she? This girl who plays in this with Jake Dudman, it's my mate's ex-girlfriend, this actress.
Okay. But yeah, again, it's just like the lack of white people is noticeable, and it's not that I can't stand seeing non-white people. It's I don't like tokenism. I think these people are hired out of tokenism, and I think I'm never going to be okay with that. Right?
I've not heard any of these, and as awful as it sounds, I know that Dudman does a great Matt Smith, but I haven't bothered with them because Matt Smith's not in them.
Yeah, listen, I got the first few. But like then this David Tennant started doing them in real life. I'm like, well, I'm not bothering Matt Smith. They got to have a good story to bring me in, and they just haven't done that. This was good, by the way. Castle of Fear. Have you ever heard this story?
I've got it. I can't remember it though.
So this was part of a trilogy. They start off in Stockbridge, and they have what's the name? The guy who played Rory Dad played.
Yes. I know you mean.
That was a very good three-parter. So this is a Castle of Fear, which I forgot it's about the Routons. So yeah, it's quite good. I'm enjoying Sontanos versus Routons. Okay, this picture of Chase Masterson. This is what 40 years ago. God bless you, darling. Again.
Yeah, that was 1995.
Yeah. Okay, and it looks like it was photoshopped as well. I mean, like. So here's the trouble. I would love to support this range, right? And get. I've still only listened to the first part of Nemesis Express, which was the last one. It didn't carry me through. Stephen Noona's one though, freaking awesome. I'm just starting part 5 of that. Really, really enjoying it.
If only the rest of these ranges had the vision that they put into both Stephen's range and Tim Treloar's range.
And also the second Doctor as well.
Yeah, I like what they're doing with Michael Troughton as well.
Yeah. They're
across the other lines, they seem to have a very definite idea and grasp on not just the story that they're telling on that release, but kind of the flavour of the whole thing. Whereas those other things, they just seem like they're all over the bloody place.
Yeah, they are. Although I'm looking forward to this. It's coming out this month. What's it called? Revolution in Space. These are generally quite solid. Ninth Doctor range, forget it. I'm so bored. And like, okay, Why is the Ninth Doctor front and bloody center? Oh, look. Oh, it's just a coincidence. She's a non-white woman. I understand.
Yeah.
Oh, for goodness sake. It's ridiculous.
They've managed to turn the return of Chris Eccleston to the role into a total non-event in less than 3 years. It's extraordinary.
I dropped out of it a long time ago. So, sufficient data. I'm not really into that. What's coming next month? Is it leap year this year? I didn't realize. 29th of February? I guess so. Bringing monsters to life. So, fashion icons. Blimey, there's not really much there that I'm really interested in. That doesn't. Yeah. If I didn't have a subscription.
Well, so it's very, very nice. But the first time we saw that picture was back in May.
I know.
So
I know. So wait a minute. So now they've got to they've got some more bang. They have an extra magazine about the cover, right? What's this? Oh, so they. This is.
Well, that's quite cool.
This is quite. These are the best covers they've had. Or how they choose these covers?
The most monumental covers, maybe.
I'm seeing right now. Okay, I think random sort of, but okay. Look, okay. Now this is so weird. Okay. Okay, if you're from the 80s, they used to have comic books that were there was Photo Love, that was the girl one, and Eagle when that came back. They had all these photo stories, which are much like. Look at this. This is just so weird. Look, Marco Polo 1 to 4, 5 to 7. There's skin ringing. I like that they're having fun with it. It's cute, but where'd it go? Come back.
Oh, do you want my honest opinion about that?
But it goes on for a while.
How many pages? How many pages are devoted to this?
6 pages.
And this is something that's $10.99 is the ticket. It's £10.99 to buy this.
This is like an extra magazine they put in there. 15 Doctor according to Doctor Who magazine. Fine. And then more of the bits that didn't come with it. I mean, again, they're just so excited about this. So what they have
Answer me. Who do you think is honestly ever going to go to the time and the trouble to cut that stuff out and to play whatever dopey game they want you to play with it? So that's a complete waste of their time. It's a complete waste of their time, a complete waste of my money. You've got the photo strip there, which I've no doubt was a load of fun to put together. But it's the sort of thing you do at the office Christmas party, and you print it off for your friends, and maybe you might frame it for your colleagues. You don't get your punters to pay for that stuff. You give it as a free gift, maybe. But the ticket price, the price on that cover, it doesn't reflect any of this being free. We are paying for every indulgence in this. It's bang out of order.
That's definitely the way of describing everything about this production. Have you seen this video?
Yes, I have. I've got it coming up on my show later on.
I was like, it's just so weird.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Then you told me he's Tim Quid's brother. Maybe like him more.
He seems honestly, he seems like a nice fella. And as I say, I mean, I know a bloke who's like published stuff with him and things like. So he's very well thought of. And he,
but he does
I know that
much more like the editor of Razzle.
No, you've said it.
I would love to know what his reaction to that would be. He'll be like, "Yes, actually, I was."
In my experience, people in publishing, as long as they're working, they don't really care what they're working on.
Exactly.
It's you can see
in today's industry, absolutely.
Yeah, you can completely see why.
Right. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.